Hello there. So in this video, we'll talk about users in Salesforce and we'll have a quick demo session on user creation stuff. So basically, what is a user? So as every other application, like let's say, for example, let's take WhatsApp, right? So for you to be using WhatsApp, then you have to enroll yourselves as an WhatsApp user, correct? So that is how it is work. It works in Salesforce as well. So any individual who logs into Salesforce is called a Salesforce user. So every single user in Salesforce has a user account which has been configured based on the client requirement. And basically, users or employees who would be accessing the application in Salesforce. Like for example, if we take a pharmaceutical industry, then the employees are sales reps and managers, right? So all those employees are the users here in Salesforce. So basically, about users. So every single user would have a username, password, and profile which are unique to them. Then the profile will be based on the license which we will be choosing at the user detail page. Like you would have known about the license from the previous video, so you'll get an idea about it. And the users are the ones who need access to the company record, obviously. So they will be logging into Salesforce just to refer to the records of a company. So how those records access would be provided is based on their profile and role. So we have seen in the last video as well on how we will be providing access to the records based on the profile, correct? So that is how users should be set up. Oh, basically in user creation, there are six important steps. So firstly, we will be providing a username. This username basically is unique across all the Salesforce orgs, like not just particular org, but across the Salesforce platform orgs. Okay. Then we will be providing them with the license, and based on the license, we will be providing them with a profile, and then with their email address. So that is how emails would be triggered to the particular user, then the user's first name and last name obviously, and role. But basically role is an option, and it is not mandatory, so it is not compulsory to provide a role for a particular user. So based on the need, we will be providing a role or not. We will have a demo session, but before that, just you can see this. There are 10 different users in this slide, right? President, CFO, COO, CTO, and team members, correct? So every single user of an organization. So this is basically structure of an organization. So every single user of the organization, starting right from the president to the team member, should have an user account to access the Salesforce application, where they would be playing around with the records and stuff. Right. So now we will have a quick demonstration on user creation. So as everything else, firstly we have to navigate to setup. Then in the quick find box, when you search for users, you'll be able to see users and a user section. So when you click on that, you'll be navigated to the users page, and you'll be able to see the existing users available. For creating a new user, we need to click on this new user button. When we do that, we'll be navigated to the user creation page. So firstly, as always, as discussed, we will be providing the first name, last name, maybe. Okay, alias would automatically be populated. So basically where this will be used is like wherever we can't use the full username, this alias would come into picture. So even in the reports, you'll be having this created by alias, or even in the records, it will be saved. So in all those places, this alias will be used. Then email ID, we can give like, the user's email ID. Like for now, I have this as gmail.com. Then we have this username, and as you would have remembered, the username should be unique across the platform, right? Like for now, I'll have the same. Okay. Yeah. When I click outside the email, this email and the username would get username and nickname would get automatically populated. So basically, we will be practicing the username to be as in the email format. So that is why it got automatically populated, and nickname would get automatically populated. We can have this as is, or we can also, have something as JK or something like that, JKN or something like that. All right. So this basically would be used in online communities, as you could see in the help text. Then this title, company, department, division. So this would be specific to the company information. So we don't need to worry much about it. Then comes the role, and if you remember, we can have the role as optional, right? So we can have this as non-specified, or else if you want a role to be specific, we can have one of those roles to be selected. Right now, I'll have it as non-specified, and we will have this user license. So based on the user license, we have to select the profile. Like for example, if I select Salesforce, I have all these listed profiles available in Salesforce license, so I could select one. So if I select a different user license, I'll be having the profiles accordingly. So for now, I'll have the profile as Salesforce and sorry, user license as Salesforce and profile as system administrator. Then you could see this active checkbox check. So this defines whether the user is active or inactive. Like we are creating the user right now, so obviously it would be active. And all these checkboxes and a few fields over here, right? So this basically is based on the feature of, I mean, the existing feature available in Salesforce. So if you want the user to have those features to be enabled, then we can have the checkbox being checked. We don't need to worry much about it, or you'd get to know, with practice. So we'll come to the important section, like the other section. For example, we have this phone extension, fax, mobile. So all these are the personal information of the user. Then we have this email encoding, which is a compulsory field, as you could see, right? So this email encoding is basically this would be used for encoding the email when the email will be sent to the Salesforce server. So that is what this email encoding would do. So we can select one of those options. Basically, this default option, general use in Western Europe, as you could see over here, right? This is the advisable one. So we will have this as the default one. Then you would be able to see the address information of an user, also the phone UID. Again, these are the personal information of the user. Then we have this federation ID, right? So this basically is for the single sign-on permission. So single sign-on permission is a whole new topic. You'll get to know about it in the upcoming videos. So by then you'll get to know the significance of this federation ID. So just no worries as of now. You'll get to know about it, obviously. Then the locale settings, right? So firstly, the time zone. So based on this time zone defined for the user, the time, like the time fields or the time wherever the time is being mentioned in the Salesforce organization, it would kind of adjust. Like for example, let's say the time being provided in the application is like for example 12 p.m. IST, right? So if the user has a different time zone, like GMT minus '07, which is PDT, Pacific Daylight Time, right? So that particular 12 p.m. IST would get adjusted automatically to the PDT time. So that is what this significance of time zone is. Then we have this locale, right? So what this basically does is, there would be, like for example, in US they practice this date format as MMDD correct? So let's say if a user have a locale as English USD, sorry, English United States, then he would have the time zone as MMDD But whereas in India, as you would have known, we would be following the date format as DDMM So if the user have locale as where is it, English India, then it would get adjusted automatically. So that is what the significance of locale is. And language, we can have or any of these language available over here in the drop down, so that it would get adjusted for the particular language. I mean, the Salesforce org would get adjusted for that particular language for this particular user. So that is what this locale settings section is all about. Then we have this approval settings, correct? So here in Salesforce, we have the approval processes being defined. You'd get to know about it in detail in the upcoming videos. So there, in the approval process, we would be defining a delegated approver of a particular user and even manager at places. Again, we would be configuring it accordingly based on the need. So we can define who should be the delegated user of for this particular user, I mean John Kennedy, and who should be the manager for this particular user. So that is what you'll be defining in these two fields. Then this drop down is for to configure when the user should receive these approval request emails. So whether it has to be only if this user is an approver, or only if this user is a delegated approver, or both, or never. So we can configure this. Then we have this checkbox, correct? So when this checkbox being checked, what would happen is once this user is saved, the user would receive an email with the password reset link. He would be notified with with an email with the password reset link. If you remember, when you have signed up for the developer version of Salesforce, you would have received an email with this verify email address, right? Similarly, the user would receive an email as well if this checkbox is checked. If not, then he wouldn't receive the email. So I'm going to save this. Yeah. When I save this, this is the user detail page. This is how the user detail page would look like. This user got saved successfully. So if I go back to this users, you'd be able to see this user mentioned over here. So yeah, this is how the user will be created. Thank you and happy learning.